So hello everyone, good afternoon from my side. After all these very interesting discussions and presentations about innovation and new projects on the field of battery, we are now talking about a very important issue for all these projects, about financing. Let me just introduce in one slide myself. My name is Uwe Seidel. I'm program manager of the IPCEIs of battery, huge European projects supporting innovations in Europe, European ecosystem, not only in technical ways, but first of all with financial approach. We reached over 6 billion euro in more than 50 projects after the last years and generated 13 billion of private investment. And if you want to have more information about what we do and about the IPCEIs, you can share these or you can use these QR codes here to get more information. I'm very happy to have two very honored experts with me, Marc and Vincent, which will be very deep, or which are very deep in the activities of financing innovations, more or less in the battery sector. And hopefully they will give us an insight at first, and then we'll ask our questions, my questions and your questions, of course. So use Slido for more information, and we have 20 minutes to go, and let's start with Marc.
Thank you, Uwe. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Marc Isabelle. I'm the director and founder of European Economics. And we have two very complementary presentations because I will focus on the public funding of projects in the battery industry. So just to say a few words about the company and the service that we provide. The key numbers are on the slide. We are a pure player consultancy in public funding. Of course, what we do as a consultancy is draft application files, advice about a lot of things, but when we think about it for a more, let's say, helicopter view, what we bring to our clients is the following. When you go into the public funding landscape, it's a kind of jungle. So we are living in this jungle, so we can act as a compass for you to find the right public funding opportunities. When you want to jump into the public funding landscape, you will also read words that you don't understand, very bureaucratic words. Once again, we are practicing this language every day, so we will act for you as an interpreter for this language. What we do also is to help you make the best match between your project, the available cost for projects, and the regulation, because there is a very important regulation around state aid in Europe. And we can help you also complement the best funding opportunities, and here we act as the architect for your public funding solutions. And the last point, because we practice it every day, we know every key mechanism that needs to be coordinated in order to reach, at the end of the day, some important public funding for your projects, and there we act at the accelerator. As you can see, we supported 22 projects in the battery value chain starting in 2018 with a total amount of 7 billion euro in terms of public funding. So now let's focus a little more about things that you know. I would like to give the economist point of view. We are a team of economists. So what is very important today in the battery industry is that there are a bunch of disrupting new macro trends that change, that act as a game changer, I would say. Of course, there is climate change. There is the domination of China over world trade. There was COVID with the impact in terms of disruption of supply chains, in particular for the automotive industry. Of course, the war in Ukraine with the hike in energy prices and the Inflation Reduction Act that you all know about that can give you a lot of incentives if you invest into the US. And of course, Europe has to react to that. There are huge economic consequences after these game changers. Of course, the huge cost of the ecological and energy transition, the disruption of global supply chains because of COVID, the insecurity of supply. You all know that the advanced materials and the raw materials that are needed for the gigafactories are not there in Europe today, or very difficult to secure the supply. There are increasing inequalities inside Europe, and of course, because of the IRA in particular, but not only, there are threats on the Europe's competitiveness and cohesion. Of course, everybody can be a bit skeptical, and we can ask more from the European Union, from the member states, but if you look at it, they reacted quite strong. The original political program of the European Union, of the European Commission, sorry, was the Green Deal, and then there was this InvestEU funding program to react after the COVID crisis, which pours euros by hundreds of billions into the economy for the member states to support green transition, innovation, and so on and so forth. Repower EU, that was enacted a few weeks after the invasion of Ukraine to try to free Europe from the Russian gas. And in March this year, there was the so-called Critical Raw Materials Act and Net Zero Industry Act that want to identify and define the road ahead for Europe to be independent and to be able to secure its own raw materials and critical raw materials. So if you look at the battery industry, if you think about the key objective of the European political agenda, it's about decarbonization, it's about resilience, it's about innovation. And the battery industry is at the core of the three European objectives. And if you see the initiatives in your industry, starting in 2018, as Uwe said before, there is the 2 IPCEIs on batteries that result into public funding by 3 billion more or less each time. And there were calls for projects in various countries. The list is not exhaustive. There was a call in France in 2022, a call in Spain in 2022 around the PERTE, a call in France again in 2023, a call in Germany in February and 1 month ago, a call in Norway, and a call in Spain again. The Innovation Fund now is going through the 4th call. It's also open for projects in the battery industry, and there is for sure more to come. Okay, so there is a huge variety and a large amount of public funding opportunities to enable you to kickstart your projects. And this is my last slide. The message here is to understand that there are various funding opportunities, various regulations, and that you have to be proactive to find the best solution to maximize your funding amount and maximize also the legal security around the funding that you can receive. This is just one example in your industry, a focus on gigafactories, not on the other steps in the value chain. You know the map better than I do. There are dozens of projects around Europe that are starting now, trying to move ahead. Most of these projects need public funding to be able to kickstart. And if you look at some of them, I think the list is close to be exhaustive. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 projects that already secured public funding to be able to start for the gigafactories specifically. The message here is that you could be proactive in order to identify the best state aid regulation for your project. And if you go for projects that don't foster innovation, this is what appears on the top of my slide. You see that the public funding amounts that were secured by LG Chem in Poland, Samsung SDI in Hungary, SK Innovation in Hungary again, revolve around 100 million euro more or less. Envision in Spain more recently received the maximum funding you can receive under so-called TCTF, Temporary Crisis and Transition Framework. The maximum amount you can receive is 200 million euros. These projects were supported mainly for cohesion purposes. We call it regional state aid. Okay? Now, if you go to the bottom of my slide, you will see projects that were supported basically for innovation purposes. Okay? Under different regulations. We have the project from Frere Batteries, who received 100 million euros in the Innovation Fund this year, but Frere decided to abandon this project, maybe because of lack of support from the Norwegian public authorities. And then you have the IPCEIs that Uwe mentioned, with ACC, Northvolt, and Tesla, securing state aid by several hundred millions, not to speak about the 1.4 billion euro secured by Tesla that we supported some years ago in Germany. And then more recently, you have a gigafactory 2 gigafactories in France, one promoted by Prologium, who is a startup from Taiwan, that will invest into, if everything works, the first worldwide solid-state battery gigafactory, for which we have Prologium secure 1.5 billion euro in France, and Vercor, a French startup, that will also invest into a gigafactory in northern France, for which we have secured 569 million euros. What is really interesting here is that this project are supported for innovation purposes and not question purposes. Innovative projects receive more state aid.
I have to stop
Thank
your
you very
information
much.
flow at that moment. Thank you very much, Marc. Because we have just 20 minutes and we want to have some more questions from the audience at the end. So, Vincent, it's your turn from the perspective of a bank.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today with so many PhD and people representative of this industry, which is, and I think you guys are doing a fantastic job in doing something which is amazing. I've been in banking for a long time in many countries, and I think what we're trying to do collectively is a huge achievement, and we're very happy to be part of it. So I was listening this morning very closely to Jan Vincent from SEC, whom we are advising, and he asked himself, what do we have left in Europe? It's a good question, but as a European, I think we have a lot left, and one of his answers was brains. We do also have capital, a lot of capital, from banks, from ECAs, export credit agency, from multilaterals, and from investors. We just need to educate that capital and bring it in, but there is a lot of capital available. Talking specifically about the commitment by BNP Paribas, it's not working.
Okay. I don't know why. No.
Okay. So I assume you all know BNP Paribas. I'll be very quick. I think just a couple of numbers. We are moving very fast on energy transition. We are moving from a bank which was focused on a lot of industries, but we are closing those commitments. We exited, for example, financing of Shell oil and gas in 2017. We are allocating a huge amount of capital to energy transition. By today, we've got approximately in the energy business, we've got around 28 billion of energy commitment allocated to energy. We're going to have by 2030 a portfolio in the energy sector which is 80% allocated to low carbon. To tell you how, and even today, as we speak, the majority of our portfolio is allocated to low energy, to low carbon. We created back in 2022 a low carbon transition team, which I'm very happy to be part of. As part of that team, we're looking at a lot of vertical. Battery is only one of them. We're looking also at hydrogen, at carbon capture, at biofuels, obviously at renewable, and battery is a key pillar of the ambition of the bank. This is another view of what we're doing in that vertical. So as you can see, it's very broad. We started with our friends at Norvolt. We supported Norvolt. I think there were 4 at the beginning, 4 employees. We went to see them. We were the exclusive advisor. We put together the first project financing globally for a battery project. From that point in time, we developed our expertise, and we've done a few additional transactions on the land. It's important to keep in mind that there still hasn't been a lot of project finance, and I don't have time to discuss what is project finance, but we are today advising not only cell producers like ACC. We just closed the first financing in France for Envision, for the Douai gigafactories, and our ambition is to be present across the battery value chain. So we are into mineral production. For example, we are the advisor of Vulcan in Germany. We are supporting Aurora, which is developing a lithium refinery in Portugal. We are advising other projects globally because we are a global team. We work in the US with Standard Lithium, for example. We are into cathode, anode, active material. A lot of people are saying this has been forgotten, but we are advising a very large project in Europe to build NMC capacity for our clients. And also on the downstream part, we're involved on the EV charging, recycling, etc. So tremendous commitment and tremendous appetite to support each of you. Some thoughts, and I will conclude with that. Well, obviously, we talk all day about global acceleration and EVs. There has been some delays, some announcement everywhere in the UK, etc. There are some emerging differences in regional, but at the end of the day, there's no turning back, and as a bank, we're fully committed on EVs. The markets, though, remain still immature, so I would say each of these transactions are still taking time, and we are very keen to see also the actual operation. So I think for that, 2024 will be a very important year. We've put a lot of money at stake. Now we're starting to work with our clients, looking at the ramp-up, looking at the actual production, and I think the market will continue to become much more mature. When we started with Norvolt, we brought in less than 10 banks, to give you an idea, and now we're working on the refinancing. We're moving from 16 gigawatt to 60 gigawatt, and in terms of number of banks, we've been able to attract, we should announce a closing by the end of the year with double-digit appetite from commercial banks. So again, it's becoming more and more mature, and there's more and more appetite. One thing also that we're seeing is we started strongly in Asia with Asian producers, then it came to Europe with European players, and now we're starting to see those players coming, going abroad to the US. So there's a very strong trend, and we are accompanying our clients to do that. Battery minerals, etc. I don't have time anymore, so let's move to Q&A. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this input. We have a couple of questions from the audience, but before that, you know that we are facing some slightly challenges about public funding in Germany at the moment. From your perspective, what is the best way forward to secure, on the European level, public funding at the moment?
Well, as I said during my presentation, the only way to look at public funding for very large projects where you need funding by several hundred millions is to try to go into every pocket that you may find to give you public funding. So basically, this grows through a combination of state aid in whatever country where you want to implement your project. You can complement that with the Innovation Fund. The Innovation Fund is European money that has the purpose to support projects that will be both innovative and that deliver reductions in GHG emissions. And maybe complement that also with so-called Breakthrough Energy Catalyst, which is a private funding platform funded by Bill Gates, and they have a collaboration with the European Investment Bank. So the idea is really to go into the possibility to complement all these public funding opportunities to reach the level that you need to decide upon the investment.
And always together in partnership with a bank, I guess, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's go to the first question from the audience. Since machine manufacturers play a key role in the ability to scale up and mass produce batteries and raw materials, do you believe that there will be more funding available for these companies in the future? Maybe from your perspective or your knowledge?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in Europe, it's as being in Europe, as we said today, there hasn't been. I think most of the machine manufacturing has come from Asia at the beginning. So now we're starting to see more ambition in Europe. There is obviously financing available from a corporate point of view, from a capex point of view, from a project finance point of view. I think it can be done. It is doable. There is some concern with regards to the capacity, the competitiveness of that industry. And every time I'm talking to certain banks, one issue that is always coming up is the comparison with manufacturers of solar, which has suffered a lot from Asian competition. So I think we just need to deal with that and find a way to give visibility to the banks for those manufacturers to grow over time.
So maybe this is as well the answer for the second question. For clean energy investments, what is the basic at the moment? What is the future for that? It goes a lot of money in investments in fossil industries, and the question is, will there be more funding or bank money for, let's say, clean technologies in the future?
Yeah, I can talk about BNP Paribas. We've made very, very strong announcements with regards to fossil fuel. We stopped financing new projects of oil and gas, and our ambition is to accompany completely the energy transition. So for us, we already turned the page and we're there. I think it's different if you go outside of Europe. Obviously, there's some different sensitivities across the planet, and we have to take that into account. We also need to capture the fact that many companies that are active in oil and gas are transitioning and are investing a lot in renewables. So for example, again, on ACC, we've got Saft, which is a subsidiary of Total, which is investing, and we see it as an important element for the transition.
Great. So we are flashing red lights here. We are over the 20 minutes. Maybe one last statement from your side for the discussion during the evening break. Maybe people won't come back to you and want to go more in details. Just what is the future of financing in Europe?
Maybe I would like to make a short point once again about the ways you can complement funding from the private point of view and from the public point of view, because most publics need funding from both sides. It's a bit technical, but what is interesting here, I see the question also about domestic European raw material sources. When you go to public funding, you must, at some point, demonstrate that your project is not economical. You're losing money there. When you go to BNP Paribas or other banking, you need to prove that your project is bankable. So this means that, first of all, there is a kind of natural timing. First go to the public funding sources and then to the private ones. And also a bit of schizophrenia here, because you need to prepare a business plan for the public funding, showing that you have a negative NPV, and then go to the bank showing that you have a positive NPV. But in the second step, probably you need to take into account the public funding sources that you can receive. Okay, so this is everything about complementing private and public funding.
Okay. You agree? Completely?
Yeah, absolutely. It's different pocket of liquidity. So again, I think the future is very. I'm very positive. There's been a lot of. 2023 has been a difficult year, especially in the equity market. It's starting to come back, and even in that difficult context, companies have been able to raise money. I think you mentioned Vercor, for example. So it's very positive. The market will become more mature, and once companies will start production, we're going to start seeing IPOs and more appetite from investors. It's, again, an ongoing process. We're doing something very complex in very few years, but the market is there, very strong appetite, and we're very happy to support you.
Very good. It's always good to end with a good perspective. Thank you very much, both of you. And if there are questions more to come, just use the time till midnight to go to the two guys and ask them questions. Thank you very much.